Merry Christmas, Baldy. How are you?
Merry Christmas, guys. I'm good.
Baldy, we
I'm in
just
the holiday spirit.
we just ran a commercial. I think it's a Home Depot commercial that you just did just during the break.
I did it during the break. Yeah, I just taped it. Yep.
Very nice. Look at that hustle. We love it.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Yes. I mean, if you need some last-minute Christmas gifts, just run to your local Home Depot, man. They've got everything you need.
I know they're paying you well,
Especially if you're handy.
to
if you're
say
a
that.
handyman.
So what are your plans for tonight and for Christmas Day?
Let's see. I've got a shindig to go to tonight.
Okay.
Christmas Eve, we're going to ring it in. I don't know, all kinds of food and parties and, kids and all kinds of stuff like that tonight. That's going to be fun. And then tomorrow, tomorrow is like kind of a relaxing day. I'll go to an early church service, probably get that out of the way. And then, just give my thanks to the baby Jesus out there.
Uh-huh.
And then kind of like family hop, just going to some different homes and bringing the gifts around and, spreading the good cheer, that kind of thing. But I'll probably be in front of a TV quite a bit, looking at some of these games a little bit tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll be watching the 5 NBA games and not the triple header in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched an NBA game yet, but I might tune in, check out my New York Knicks and see what they're doing.
I got to tell you that the triple header, and obviously when they made the schedule for Netflix, and I don't know how much money they paid to get the coverage, but a lot. And of course, Prime Video, Amazon's paid billions to get the Thursday night games, and of course Christmas night. But man, at the start of the year, these 3 matchups looked like they were going to be huge. Cowboys, Commanders could have been for the division, or certainly for a playoff spot. Lions, Vikings could have been for the division, certainly for a playoff spot. Broncos, Chiefs, same thing. But man, you're gonna find, I don't know, 3 or 4 backup quarterbacks out of these 6 teams.
Well, you're going to get a chance to watch Chris Olajuwon play,
right.
For the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
That's why you can't predict any of this stuff. Because, schedule makers, just to let you know, Netflix paid $75 million per game. So they paid $150 million to the NFL to televise this. And you think, okay, schedule makers, we're going to give them really good, we're going to give you, your money's worth. And obviously, the Chiefs were just taken apart by the Titans last week. They're done.
Right.
And so, the Commanders couldn't have had, I remember going out to the Commanders' training camp practice, their first Sunday, and it was so exciting being out there. Just the buzz and coming off an NFC Championship game and looking at, some of the rookies that were out there and talking to some of the guys that, played for the Commanders back in the day, Fred Smoot and different guys, and there was such optimism. And it was like that in Detroit and some of the places I've been to. But, every year is a new year. You got to play it out. And it's, the Vikings couldn't have had a more disappointing season. I saw the Lions on Sunday lose to the Steelers in that dramatic fashion. And, they won 15 games last year.
Right.
And they might not get half that many this year.
Right.
Insider calls are brought to you by Nationwide for your insurance and financial needs. Nationwide is on your side. I'm sure you don't have this answer, Baldy, but I have to ask you the question. What do you make of the Commanders' curious decision, to go outside of their building to sign Jeff Driscoll to the practice squad in the wake of the Marcus Mariota injury, instead of elevating Sam Hartman off of their own practice squad, who's been here for a couple of years? Why do you think they made that weird decision?
And Sam Hartman's not injured, by the way.
I don't know. It is weird because Sam, he started a whole year. Or he played. He was on the team. I saw him in training camp.
Right.
Didn't start, but he's been there. It goes to show you that they got guys on the practice squad that they don't think can play.
Yeah. Well, why are they on the practice squad then?
I don't know. That's bizarre. Maybe he gets a chance to, do some drills during the week or something. I don't know, but at least the guy knows the offense. He's going to know better than Jeff Driscoll. So it's a little bizarre to hear that kind of stuff. I didn't know that, by the way, so that's new to me.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, Baldy, because we just played audio from Cliff Kingsbury. He was asked this question by the local media yesterday, and he said, we felt more comfortable with a guy who has played in NFL games before who knew our system. So he's claiming Jeff Driscoll, who hasn't played in a game, by the way, in 2 years. All right, he played for the Browns 2 years ago.
Right.
But he's claiming that he knows the system, and Sam Hartman's been in the system for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, Cliff is he's doing what I'm doing.
Right.
He's just fumbling for an answer.
Exactly. He was just lying to us.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably really wondering the same thing. Like, look, this guy's in our meetings every day. You know, we talk football every day. You know, he's sitting right next to Jaden Daniels in meeting rooms and, you know, all that kind of stuff. You would think, like, at least he could call the play.
Right.
I mean, Jeff Driscoll has played. I mean, he does have some stats out there, but it's like I've played with a quarterback that came off the street, like, and you're sitting in the huddle and they're reading the script off of a script, and you go, do they really know what they're doing? They don't. They just it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
I don't think
It's weird. It's weird. Hey, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the Commanders at 4-11, are you okay? Now, look, you're a former player. All right, you're a competitor, so you're probably going to say no to this. But are you okay with the Commanders and teams that are already eliminated just completely tanking and not playing their starters? Why play Terry McLaurin and Debo? Why play Tunsil? Why play starting offensive lineman or Kinlaw when you can improve your draft stock if you lose these games, especially to the Cowboys, who are going to play Dak Prescott apparently. So they're going to play some of their starters. Why even play your good players when you can improve and go 4-13 and maybe you have the 5th pick as opposed to the 7th or 8th?
Yeah, but players don't care about draft picks.
No, I know. I'm just talking about as a fan or as a GM or a coach.
No, the fans have a totally different approach, but I wanted to play.
Yeah.
There's 2 games left of the season. I wanted to play the season out. We started this thing, back in May with OTAs and all that kind of stuff. And, I would, in all these mini camps and summer camp, I mean, you prepare yourself to play a 17-game schedule. It's been disappointing for Terry McLaurin this year because of the holdout and the injuries. And It's been a disappointing season coming off his best season ever. So, I don't know. I would want to finish strong, try to win I always try to win as many games you can.
Right.
There's nothing like the draft is the draft. We screw the draft up every single year. Every team does.
Yeah.
Every team has. I mean, I could go back and I could look at all the Commanders' drafts, going back to the days of Sonny Jurgensen, and I can show you all the draft busts in the first round. I can show you all the draft hits, and they've had their, what was the year when they had the 1st and 2nd pick? And
LeVar and
LeVar was the 2nd pick, but who was the
Chris
first
Samuels.
pick? Defensive lineman?
Was it Chris
Samuels?
LeVar and Chris Samuel? I thought it was.
Oh no.
No. Samuel's the offensive tackle. He was a good player.
Oh, it was Courtney Brown. Didn't he get drafted by the Browns? And then LeVar went, I think, 2.
They had the first pick. They took Courtney Brown. He didn't make any impression in this whole business. And you think, okay, 1st and 2nd pick, we're going to rebuild our team. And LeVar was good. He had a couple of years. It was pretty good. But it didn't change. It didn't change that team or the direction of that team back then. The draft picks. There's always 10 busts in every first round. There's always 10 pretty good players, and there's always 10 really good players. Some of them, in some years become Hall of Fame players, but there's no way you could predict any of that stuff.
Yes, so Courtney Brown went 1, LeVar 2, Samuels went 3. That's
year. Right. Okay,
yeah.
So it was 2 and 3, not 1 and 2.
2 and 3, right?
All right, so Baldy, let's pivot to the DK Metcalf situation. It's just a debacle. He's suspended 2 games, loses over $500K in salary. He gets his $45 million in future guarantees voided just because he couldn't avoid a confrontation with a fan in the stands. Like, how disappointing is it to see like a star player like that get into a scrape with a fan? And look, you're a former pro. You've been in stadiums. You've had people calling you, I'm sure, every name under the sun, and you didn't try to punch a fan. Talk about this whole situation and some of your takeaways from it.
Well, I remember coming out into RFK Stadium. I remember coming into RFK Stadium as a Cowboy to play the then Redskins in the NFC Championship game. And I was my rookie year, 1982. And I was sitting on the back of the bus. And back then, there was no underground delivery where the players, you just came out in the parking lot basically and went into the stadium. I remember I got up to get off the bus, and Randy White, our star defensive lineman, pulled me by the back of the shirt and sat me down. I'm like, what's that all about? He goes, hey, man, don't be the first one off the bus, Baldy, not here. They're going to be throwing all kinds of stuff at you. So he saved me from, who knows, bottles or hot dogs or something they were throwing. But, I was in Detroit last week. I was announcing that game for national radio, and we saw clips of it that were circling on social media. So we addressed it a little bit, and I was kind of wondering why there wasn't some sort of action done during the game. Well, because it wasn't flagged or seen, and Mike Tomlin spoke a little bit about this as well, there was nothing that the league could do then. But I said he's going to get suspended for this. You can't do this. You can't. The fans pay everybody's salary in this whole business. The fans are the only reason why there is a business. I don't care what the fan says to you. I don't care how disrespectful he is. You can't do anything to the fan. And there's no reason during the game, which was it was in doubt all the way until that crazy play at the end when Amon-Ra St. Brown, lateraled it off to Jared Goff.
Right.
It was in the game, and Pittsburgh needed the game. Why a player? And if DK was on this call, I'd say the same thing. Why would you ever engage the fan while you were trying to win this game?
Right. Well, are you okay? Are you okay with this?
The money is the money, but Pittsburgh will survive without him for 2 games here. But
right.
It should be a lesson to every player going forward. This is you can never go over there and do what he did to that fan.
Yeah, that was dumb. All right, so you're okay with the 2-game suspension?
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I mean, we took a bunch of calls yesterday on this topic, and, people were on kind of both sides, and they definitely blamed DK, but the fan's a moron. If I was on the front lawn of the White House with President Trump and the First Lady, and I said, hey, Trumpy, you're the worst president of all time. You suck. You're awful. You should be impeached. You think I'm not going to get escorted out? That guy should have been escorted out of the stadium. The fact that he was able to stay and doesn't face any penalties, I think, is unfair too.
No, look, I'm not saying the fan isn't. He instigated the whole thing.
Right.
That's what he got exactly what he wanted. That's why he did it. That's why fans do that stuff. They want the player to interact and do what DK did. But you always lose that battle. The player loses the battle, and the fan wins, even if he's never allowed into another stadium, which I hope he isn't. But even if he's never allowed into another stadium in the NFL again, and he's blacklisted forever, he still won that incident right there. He's still going to at Christmas this year. He's going to be bragging about that in front of all his friends.
Yeah, what a moron! All right, so let's talk about some of these huge matchups here. What game intrigues you the most? Obviously the Bucs Dolphins is intriguing, not because of the Dolphins, they suck, but the fact that the Bucs have sucked the last 6 weeks. And then the Panthers are hosting the Seahawks. That's a tough out. But these 2 games could result in a division winner. Your thoughts on that conference or that division, and then is there another game that kind of jumps out at you, and for what reason?
Yeah, there is. There's quite a few actually, but I'd say that I'm going to be in Charlotte for the first time in years.
Oh wow!
This might be the biggest game the Panthers have played since Cam Newton was there and was the MVP and went to a Super Bowl.
Yep.
I can't remember a bigger game in Charlotte. They've had very little. Matt Rule came through there. Sam Darnold was a quarterback there. Baker, everybody went to Carolina at one point. But this is a big game, and I'm looking forward to it. Seattle's got 10 days of rest. They had an improbable win against the Rams. But here's Carolina, and Carolina beat the Rams this year. They shut out the Atlanta Falcons. They've had some real good wins this year. And when that happens, usually Bryce Young throws 2 or 3 touchdowns, and they're kind of just go balls where, Ted McMillan or Jalen Coker comes up with a big catch, and they get an easy touchdown for the most part. But defensively, they give you some problems. It looks like an expansion team on that side of the ball. But, I don't know how anybody could vote for the Pro Bowl and not vote Derek Brown as a defensive tackle. He's so much better this year than Jalen Carter. It's not even funny. I'll talk about it on the air. But the defensive front is good. And the secondary, J.C. Horn's a good player. Mike Jackson had a great game a couple weeks ago against Mike Evans. He's a good player. People just don't know about him. But I think they'll be competitive. I think Seattle's a much better overall team.
Right.
So that division is still up for grabs. We'll see what happens. I believe that Baker can turn things around a little bit, maybe especially this week against the Dolphins, because he's got everybody back. He's got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving, Tristan Wirfs. They're all back. Defensively, they've just been awful. I mean, I saw them against the Patriots 5 or 6 weeks ago, and I saw Travion Henderson go for 2 long touchdowns against them. They've been giving up these big plays all year. The pass rush is not there. Hassan Reddick has provided no rush, and the secondary's been beat up, and and they've been vulnerable to big plays. And so that's what they have to guard against with Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle this week. But the game that intrigues me the most is the Chargers and the Texans this week. The Chargers are playing really good football. They're in the playoffs. The Texans are one of the hottest teams in the league, and defensively they're awesome, although they gave up some big plays to Ashton Genty last week for the first time. But I want to see because I think if the Texans get in the playoffs, they're going to be a real problem because of how good they are defensively.
Yeah, they are special.
Baldy,
all right, man.
We have to run. We hope you have a great Christmas Eve and Christmas, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right. Likewise, guys. Merry Christmas to you all.
Yeah,
All right, brother.
Merry Christmas.